Libra, it's that time. It's time to celebrate your next trip around the sun and bring in your solar return quest read. So come on in, sit for a spell, make yourselves comfortable. We are going to weave a tale that's as old as time, and we're going to drop in for a moment before we get into the meat of the matter and we start laying some cards out on the table to demystify the archetype of Libra a bit by delving into the origin story of the stars that are your constellation, which is the scales. You are the only inanimate object in the entire zodiac. This does set you apart, and yet your role has often been trivialized in modern day astrology. You're seen as effervescent and social and appreciating all things of beauty, but there's actually a much deeper origin story than the one that's currently been spun. And so I wanted to dive into that a little bit. Back when the stars were first being mapped out in Mesopotamia around 3000 BC, Libra was seen as that point of the autumnal equinox when there was a balance between the darkness and light. And you still very much hold this charge. You are the way through the darkness and light, or you could say somewhat of a liminal space holder. And not only that, but there's a lot that comes into play about the role that Libra plays, that those scales play. And there's a reason why you are the only sign that is represented by an inanimate object. And that's because there is a certain level of judgment that is imbued within those scales. Now, the Greeks were the first to make a clear distinction of Libra as the scales. Prior to that, Libra was connected to the claws of Scorpio, or could be connected to Astraea holding the scales. And then the Greeks came along and gave Libra the distinction as an entity all its own, not attached to the Virgoan energy or the Scorpio energy. In Greek mythos, Libra is the scales of justice, and those scales of justice are personified by the goddess Themis, who is an earth goddess like her mother Gaia. Themis holds those scales of justice that exact the balance over divine will and cosmic order of the gods, which means that when it comes to matters of judgment, not even the gods were free of being weighed out in those scales, much like man, which is very interesting because you never really look at this aspect of Libra or hear of this aspect of Libra. Libra is always kind of considered more of, in modern telling, a sort of playful, social butterfly, effervescent kind of sign. It really is a sign that's been trivialized, but it holds a lot of heavy hitter energy. Okay, so this goddess, Themis, had the gift of prophecy, and she was an oracle at Delphi before Apollo. She also was teamed up with Zeus, and she helped Zeus plot the Trojan War. Together, Zeus and Themis had 6 daughters. Those 6 daughters are the 3 Fates and the Horae. Those are the Greek goddesses of the seasons and the natural order of things. And one of the Horae was Dike, who is also a goddess of justice. But unlike her mother, she rules over the justice allotted to humans, and her mother presides over more spiritual matters, spiritual justice, or spiritual court, you could say. So I wanted to bring this in before we dive into your quest read, because I wanted to restore the true lineage of the Libran archetype and help people understand why we are moving through such a loaded kind of territory right now astrologically, especially with all the Plutonian charge that is in the air. This is a time of really closing out old karmic cycles. And this is a time when there is a balance that is coming about. And I love that Libra really did lead the charge of diving into this Plutonian territory. You could say that Libra was the first that ate the pomegranate seeds and dove down into the underworld to do that dance with Hades, to integrate the shadow, to cast away all of the false adornments, to arrive at that place of just pure essence without all the trappings. So there could be that transformation. It was an arduous process, and all Libras understand this. All Libras have been really going through a very deep transformational process for a long time now. It started back around the tail end of 2009. Now, according to what decanath you are born within, it really depends on where you are within this story. And also that very much relates to the collective energy. So I am going to be bringing in collective reads for the separate decanaths. The maiden decanath being represented by the first decanath, which really is more connected to the Virgoan energy. And then the second decanath representing the mother aspect. And then the third decanath representing the crone, or as I've introduced already on this channel, to look at it through more of a masculine lens, we have the lad, the father, and the wizard or the sage. Okay, so we will be diving into separate readings for that. Those will be collective readings because they relate a lot to the astrology that is rolling out now. But if you are born within that decanath, do listen up, because it will absolutely speak very strongly to you about how you are going to be influenced moving through this territory. Whereas third decanath Libras, who led this charge with Pluto, are getting to the other side of it. And now they're really going to be coming into the light building phase. First decanath Libras are really just starting to dive deep into that Plutonian territory. They've already experienced some of it, but now they're really coming to a head with it, you could say, okay? It does lead where you need to go ultimately, no matter where you fall on this spectrum. But I wanted to introduce this here and explain how this was rolling out so you would know when to tune in and what spirit to tune into these reads with. It's going to be a little bit of a different presentation than you've been used to up to this point. I will be bringing in these reads. Likely, I'll probably get to the first decanath read. Maybe the second decanath read will come in as well this weekend. The third decanath read, I'm going to let marinate a little bit because it's kind of the heavy hitter energy coming in at this time with the third decanath hosting that new moon in Libra. It's right on the cusp of Scorpio season. And there's also a very significant full moon that will be coming in on November 5th. In the sign of Taurus, who also shares your ruler Venus, Libra. So I really want to let that download for the third decanath simmer just a little bit, okay? So do be looking for some downloads to come in tomorrow on Sunday for first decanath, second decanath Libra. And those are collective reads, all right? So for the time being, though, let's dive into your quest read and see what this next trip around the sun has in store for you. I'm using a brand new deck. It was gifted to me by our Bevo, my dear friend, Jennifer Happy Wright, and it's called the Ethereal Visions Tarot. And I've really been holding off on using this deck until I brought in the Libra reads because, well, I'm a Libra. I was born on October 13th. Freya's Day, hail Freya. I was born on a Friday the 13th. And so I really wanted to break them in once I started to dive into the Libra energy. So thank you very much, Arbivo, for gifting this deck to the channel. Arbivo's gifted quite a few decks to the channel, so I really appreciate it. It's always nice to receive a new deck to work with, and I'm really excited to dive into this one because this one has a couple extra cards. The world doesn't stop at 21. There's a continuation story with these cards. So let's have some fun with this and let's see what comes in for Libra. Now, if you do have strong Libra placements in your chart, 11:01 on the clock, you absolutely can benefit from tuning into this read because you will see ways that it connects with your energy. But this is geared to neat Libra Sun natives. Okay, so let's dive in here and let's see what is the nature of the quest before Libra Sun natives as they prepare to make this next trip around the sun. And for those of you who have already had your birthday, I hope that your year is off to a smashing start. And for those of you with birthdays up ahead, happy birthday in advance. Or maybe you're having a birthday today. Either way, I hope you are really enjoying a spirit of celebration. Celebration is a word that's been coming in quite a bit. Ooh, okay, bottom of the deck. What do we have here? We have Seven of Pentacles. So I see you've really invested in something. You've been tilling your fields. You have already sown your seeds. There's something that has been growing here. And you're at a point right now where you're looking to see what that growth is so far. What is the yield of the harvest thus far? And is there anything else that you need to invest in what's been grown here? And perhaps you're considering a path. Perhaps you're considering going rogue or heading in a new direction and you're wondering, should I do this? Should I invest in this direction? Let's get some more details about this with the Seven of Pentacles coming in. What is the nature of this quest up ahead for Libra? You have been dutifully working on something, pouring your energy into something, and you're having a moment of reflection to sort of pause and see the growth that you've yielded so far and then determine if you need to maybe prune some things or make some adjustments here. Ooh. Libra, you got an Ace of Wands, and this is nigh. This is a fall timing card. So you do have some kind of power in your hands. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the hazel branch that was gifted to Cinderella. And I think of Cinderella and I think of pumpkins. And naturally it makes me think of Samhain or Halloween and the pumpkin as a symbol that comes through with the jack-o'-lantern. And recently I've made this association of the jack-o'-lantern with the hermit's lantern that lights the way forward and also wards off any sort of malevolent influences in a very playful, sort of tongue-in-cheek, humorous way. That jack-o'-lantern always has like a real toothy grin. There's something about laughing in the face of darkness here. And it also makes me think of pumpkins being sort of a symbol of transformation. And of course, the stagecoach, the chariot that carries you forward. But beyond that, the traditional telling of Cinderella is a story of reconnecting with the earth and reconnecting with the mother. It's a story of empowerment that comes from specifically connecting with the mother, which I think is really interesting. when we look at the origin story of Libra and we look at Themis and her mother being Gaia, the earth itself. This reminds me of the stepsisters asking Cinderella's father for all these riches and all of these fancy accoutrements and beautiful gowns when he was asking the daughters what they wanted him to bring back to them from his trip. And Cinderella simply asked for the first branch that his head hit on the way home on his stagecoach. And it ended up being the branch of a hazel tree. And hazel is considered a very magical wood. It holds a lot of power. And in fact, a lot of times wands are made out of hazelwood. This is a little bit of roots, going into the roots of alchemy here. And she took that branch, and her mother had already passed. Her mother was buried in the earth on the land that she lived. And so she took that branch to her mother's grave, and she planted the branch into the soil there. And the branch grew into a giving tree. And that tree is what gave her this connection, not only to the mother, but to nature. And that's why all the songbirds came in and all of the different woodland creatures came in, and they gave Cinderella support. They gave her support. The dress, all of the blessings, everything that came through did not come through a fairy godmother. It actually came through the earth itself and this tree that grew out of her mother's grave. She watered that grave with her tears. She poured her heart out and she spoke with the mother. And so there might be something about this that's coming in for you. You could say it's a little bit of a Cinderella story, but you may be really connecting with the earth at this time. You may be processing the experiences you've been through. You may be shedding some tears of gratitude for the journey, for the growth, through the wisdoms that were gained. And you may be also experiencing a sense of reconnection. And this could be a call to really reconnect with the earth in this way. And maybe there is something about this, about you planting a branch, you could say, into the earth and having it be symbolically a connection point, a giving tree of sorts. There's something coming through about this tree medicine coming through for you as well. But I see there's something about reconnecting with the earth, reconnecting with the mother. And in doing so, it opens up the floodgates that allows you to receive some kind of empowerment that comes through here for you. Something to be planted for your future. Something that will grow roots. Something that will be a legacy. Something that will be a giving tree. Wonderful way to start out, to already have an ace coming in within the season of your birth. Very powerful there. Bottom of the deck. Woo! Oh my goodness, the Magician. Look at that. So you're working some alchemy right now. You're calling something in that will bear a lot of fruit for your future. It's a harvest you're holding in your hands. This could be some kind of creative inspiration. You could feel like it's a calling that you've been wondering, should I invest in this? Should I answer this call? Yes, you need to answer this call. It's a moment of empowerment for you. And you might want to do something symbolically around this. You might want to create a physical representation of that same connection that Cinderella shared with her mother by planting a branch in the earth, symbolically, to sort of hold that energetic space, if you know what I mean. Because much like the stars are origin stories that contain mythos, oral traditions, so are the fairy tales. There's a lot of fairy coming through for you. This is so powerful. A lot coming through communication as well. And we also know that the magician has all the aces. So you already have all the aces at your disposal. There's a lot of new beginnings that are going to come in for you. And it's really interesting the way it's sort of being mapped out here, especially with the Hore coming in. I feel like every season there's going to be an ace put in your hand. And it's giving you the power to transform your reality. 2010 on the clock when that came in. Judgment. Judgment in your favor. It brings in a turning of the wheel of fortune. Sagittarian energy. It's the blessings of Jupiter and Cancer. Cancer is on the cardinal cross. Okay, so this is very much about the gifts of the mother. Also with Jupiter and Cancer in its house of exaltation that is going to be here for a full turning of the wheel. It's also the rebirth of Venus. And we'll go into that a little bit more in depth when I do the Deconic reads. I already have it all mapped out for you all, okay? So this is quite an empowering trip around the sun for you. This is what it's about. It's about what grows from you stepping into your power. Very beautiful energy. Remember to hold this power wisely in proper balance. Okay, let's have a look at what the nemesis or spirit ally is for you in this next trip around the sun. A little dualism there. Okay, obviously you've done some kind of healing and integrative work to already have this Ace of Wands coming in now. It's a good way to start things out. You might want to make a wand too. 3 of Cups. Yeah, it reminds me of the 3 fates, okay? So there's some kind of healing coming through here. And there is some blessings coming in. It's been determined by the fates. And you take the 3 and you merge it with that Ace of Wands and you get the 4. You get the coming into empowerment. So I feel you may have lost your power somewhere in the past and now you have regained it. And this is changing your reality. And here's one of the cards. This is card number 23. This is the change, the transformation that's happening here. We have the awakening of the artist. Isn't that cool? Look at the artist gazing off at that tree in the distance. This is a natural mystic flowing through the air that's coloring your landscape. This is musing energy coming in. This is also creative inspiration. 22:44 on the clock. Wow. Double 6s. These are all synchronicity numbers for you. 22, 44, 66. You could be a life path 2, a life path 4, a life path 6. You could be a life path 3, a life path 8, a life path 4. Wow. Okay, so there's definitely something coming into alignment. There's a lot of synchronicity playing out in this next turning of the wheel for you. Do pay attention and make time to connect with nature, because I really feel like there's a synchronistic flow that's coming in here for you. And in order to be able to navigate the terrain ahead, it's going to be necessary for you to have that contact point. Also, the energy may at certain points become very expansive, and there's going to be a need to hold that in balance. It's not about just sort of dancing out there on the clouds, out there on the ether. You stay up there too much and you can wander off into the alfalfa, and that can work against you. You can be your own worst enemy. You can be your own nemesis. So it's really important that you do root it, you ground it. You're not just meant to have these flights of fancy. This is something you're meant to really root in your material reality. All right, I want to get a little bit of a look at the nemesis aspect. Is there any nemesis aspect we need to be aware of here? So far, I like how this energy is coming out. It's coming out upright. It's not in a cross position. It looks positive. Okay, there's some kind of healing, some kind of celebration here as well. 3 of Cups can be like toasting, a celebration. I do feel like there's something that you are rooting right now, something you're acting on. And it's going to be the source of celebration for you in time, okay? There's something about the passage of time here too, because we see that influence coming out around the Hore and the fates, all right? This is something that happens over the seasons. Okay, here's the Nemesis energies coming out, crossing. Ah, the Fool. Look at that. So you're not quite here yet. I feel like this is something that's being seeded right now. And we know that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So there is something coming in here about waiting for the right moment to step on the path. You have to wait for this path to be presented to you. But I like this. Look at the dog coming along with this Fool. It's sort of like the fetch. The dog's ready to take the leap too. There's no tugging to pull one back here. It almost looks like a little bit of a wolf spirit here too, coming through, you know, the Pathfinder here. And I like this. It's just like really giving yourself over to it. Look at that. You got an umbrella, a bit of like Mary Poppins energy. You know, it's okay. I'll have quite an easy descent if I do have to travel down a bit. I'm not going to land with a thud here. And you're really open. Look at that. Footloose and fancy free. Heart wide open, all in with this. And it does look like it's some kind of wisdom that you gained through that deep dive into the underworld, through doing that dance with the devil, you could say, in the pale moonlight, and integrating your shadow aspect. It's going to be time to really bring this to the surface. It's like it presents a doorway, a way through, and this almost looks like a key that comes along with it too. I feel like this really comes in with your new moon on the 21st. Something comes in there. It puts some kind of power in your hands, and it's something that you're going to really feel like, I'm ready to give myself over to this. Very cool. Okay, so I think this is just a matter of timing. The Empress. I told you, it came in recently like the Empress is ready to resurface. She's already on the scene. So this is the rebirth of Venus. Wow, look at that. What a gorgeous card. There's something you've transmuted here. I love this. I think the only thing that could really sabotage you right now is if you get in your own way by not trusting temperance, by not trusting divine timing, by not paying attention to the signs of synchronicity. 27:44 on the clock. Yes, that's what will keep you sort of locked in the south node. That's what will keep you sort of pondering past matters when your orientation is meant to head due north, toward that North Star, the Stargate that's awaiting you up there. Now, the fulfillment of that Stargate doesn't really come in until the Ring of Fire arrives on the scene in Aquarius. That comes in on February 17th, 2026, okay? So there's a little time to work with here. So trust the way things are germinating and the way things are flowing, but there is something that you are seeding here, and it will grow and come to fruition with the Empress as the basis of the matter for this new path that's opening. It's like a spark of creativity. All right, I like this. So this is good. The only thing you have to watch out for is just chomping at the bit, being too eager, because there might be something here about a slow brew. You know what I'm saying? 29 on the clock. That's the truth, okay? Let this develop slowly. There's so much that will be revealed if you just give it time to develop slowly. Don't be in such a rush. Really savor the journey. And that's something that has been coming through for me a lot more, that I've really recognized that we're always just so quick to want to get to the end of the story, but there's so much that comes in taking in the story, right? And really experiencing all the development of the plot and all the twists and turns in the tale and all the characters that are introduced. So I do feel like this is a bit of an adventure that's opening up here. So don't be so quick to get to the end, because there's something to really savor about the journey. All right, beautiful. What is the lay of the land? Once this opens up, we're not here yet, okay? So what opens up here? What is the lay of the land that Libra will see before them when they arrive at this juncture where it's time to take the leap of the Fool? What is the lay of the land before Libra as they step on the road to that stone of destiny? Okay, I kind of like it. I like it because what we see here is we got the Three of Swords, right? And look at that. Do you see how it looks like a keyhole there? There's a certain key you still need to retrieve. I get it, because that key symbolism came in with the Fool. There is a key that you still need to retrieve. You're not quite there yet. You're in the process though. You're getting there. You're getting there. When we look at the Three of Swords, certainly it is about heartache. But we also know that the wound is where the light gets through. And there is some kind of great truth that arises up out of this. This is the same orientation as that sword that Justice holds upright. So I feel like you're in the process of recovering this truth right now. I also feel that once you recover this truth, it gives you the key you need to open up this door of opportunity. And there's something about this. Ooh. It also looks like within this heart, there's wings. So there's some kind of freedom coming in here too from what's been suffering. Also with the Three of Swords, what's often not acknowledged about the Three of Swords is it's not just heartache, it's also delay. And that delay is always for our own good. So again, the message coming in, trust the timing of things. If you were to rush ahead at this time, it would only lead to further delays. It might also encourage further heartache. Like there's some key, some truth that you need that will spring a lock here and it opens the road. And you'll be happy that you allowed the story to unfold, because I feel like there's key pieces coming in here, key characters coming in here. There may be a plot twist coming in here. There also may be an aspect of your own character that's presently in development. Okay? You will get what you need to get through this. The delays will end, but right now it's sort of in the process of being balanced out. That's what I feel. Don't rush in before it's time, okay? It's on the bottom of the deck here. Yeah, don't rush in before it's time, or you might find conflict with the Five of Wands. There might be a lot of outside opposition that's currently blocking the path that will be cleared out in time. It's just a temporary delay. All right, interesting. Okay, well, with that conflict that's inherent there, what's the beef? What's the problem, man? What's the meat of the matter? Why is there this opposition here? Give Libra some details about why this opposition exists in the first place. Why is this opposition here for Libra? Why is this opposition here? Eight of Cups. Two cards came out. Eight of Cups to the Five of Swords. Oof. Okay, so we got two fives here. There's something that's causing delays. It needs to be sorted out. There's been some kind of betrayal here. There's been some kind of betrayal. And you need to understand where the source of that is before you're free to move away from it and head off on down that road. It's also, you know, the awakening of that magician archetype when you finally have that staff or that wand in your hand that you can use to command to open the road here. I feel like you'll have a real clear understanding of this once that full moon on November 5th comes in Taurus, okay? There could be a Taurus connection here. Eight of Cups is associated with Pisces. There could be a Pisces connection. This could be a karmic cycle where you did experience some kind of betrayal. Maybe you had a blind spot around this. This betrayal could have come from a quarter that you didn't expect, and it might have blindsided you, okay? But there's something here that is being cleared away from your path. I feel like you don't need to be hands-on with this at all, actually. I feel like you're meant to really just be in this space of allowing yourself to be held by the earth is how it's coming through. Reconnecting with your own sources of empowerment. You'll know when it's time to walk away from whatever this is. It could be walking away from something that betrayed you or a path that betrays you. It could be walking away from a certain perspective you hold or an aspect of yourself that's holding you back, that betrays the full potential that wants to be enacted by you now. So pay attention to this. There is a tower coming in here. I feel like this is like whatever this betrayal force is, it's being cast out of your kingdom so that you have free passage to head on down this road. It will be illuminated for you. That's when some kind of karmic cycle is transformed. The tower comes in with Mars energy, Plutonian energy, the energy of Uranus, okay? So there's still something here, I think, that's going to be surprising, okay? There's always something that's a bit of a surprise. But whatever this is, it does put some power in your hands. We'll get some more details about this tower. I'm really curious about this tower. Oh, look at this. Behind the tower is the Ace of Pentacles. So it does give you a seed for your future. Something grows here, and it's balance. So I think this is more kind of like a tower of power for you. It looks more like something's being cast out of the tower. Notice that the tower is not destroyed. The tower is standing strong here. So something you're building here, something that is starting to build right now, it has strength, it has longevity, and there's more kind of like an interloper energy. Something that has betrayed you before is being cast aside. It's being ousted here. That might be what the conflict is, and you might not even be aware of it. Almost like you're being protected from this conflict by being held back, okay? So again, you got all the aces here. Don't be so quick to rush forward. You'll see the fulfillment of whatever this is, whatever comes in and is illuminated by that full moon in Taurus on November 5th. You'll see the full effect of it by the time you arrive at spring equinox. Okay. That's when you'll really see what's been built up here, whatever you're starting to see now. It won't have the interference that's been in play, okay? Interesting. Okay, so there still might be sort of an influence here that wants to try to cut this off at the pass, but it won't be successful. I think there could be something that could be a little of a point of pause for you. I think there's something here that's really going to hurt when you realize maybe who this individual is. Because usually when we look at this energy of a tower, there's something surprising that comes in here, okay? It shakes things up, but I don't think it tears anything down of yours. I think it's more just the recognition, getting the truth about who interfered is going to be something that might be a little heavy on your heart. I think you'll quickly recover though, okay? You'll quickly recover because it does bring you an Ace of Pentacles here. And this is something rooted in material reality. This is not something that's a fantasy for you. Okay, well, we always have to look at our part. So what are the consequences that Libra is going to have to deal with as a result of their past actions? What are the consequences that Libra will have to deal with in this next trip around the sun as a result of their past actions? We have to do that. We always have to have that checkpoint with ourselves. Libras are really good at that, really looking at like, okay, where am I kind of like acting out of my shadow? Where do I need to bring it more into the light? Or maybe where am I being too much into the light and I'm kind of deluding myself and I need to look at something? That might be what this is too. You might have not wanted to look at something because it's painful for you. This betrayal is painful for you, but you need to see it because it's actually what's going to give strength for the road ahead in your future to be able to cast out this influence. I feel like that's how it's coming through. What are the consequences that Libra is going to have to deal with as a result of their past actions? What's our work to do in this matter? What is our work to do as we head out on this campaign and we head down that road toward the stone of destiny? What are the consequences of Libra's past actions that need to be dealt with here? Okay, let's check that out. Something that's going to come to light here. 3 of Wands, bottom of the deck. Okay, so I like this. Look at that. Oh, wow, that's interesting. That is interesting. I mean, you are entering the waterway, but look, it's just you holding your power. Normally with the 3 of Wands and other decks, there's 2 wands by the person that is contemplating what's coming in here. Here, 2 are cast aside. So there's 2 that you're casting aside here. That's wild. Okay, what is this? And isn't that interesting? Oh, here's 3 cards here that came. Okay, let's see the consequences. We have a Page of Cups. We have the Well, number 22. Ooh, the deepest well of Danu. And we have Judgment. I mean, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I think this is it. I think you are going to have to deal with the consequence of acknowledging the truth about what or who needs to be cast aside. That's how it's coming through. This is the deepest well of Danu. This is another one of the new cards, okay? Comes in with the number 22. So 22 is a synchronicity number for you. It lets you know when you are coming into alignment with a person or a path of heart, something that is really meant to sustain you on the road ahead. And it's a bit of the charge of Goddess Danu coming through. She is the mother of the Tuatha De Danann. Okay, so she holds all the mysteries to all the treasures. So you're doing a deep dive into the deepest well of Danu. And there is a judgment here in your favor. So this is a rebirth cycle for you. It is the rebirth of Venus. I like this, okay? And there's some invitation here to dive deep into this direction, dive deep into this, because it's what allows you to rise up out of the betrayal and the pain of the past. This has very much like a very kind of magical, sort of whimsical tone to it. I like it, but it's also deep. It is very deep. So this feels a bit initiatory too as well. And that came in with 43:33 on the clock. So 7:33. 7 is your house, Libra. This could be somebody of significance that you're coming into connection with. Okay. Judgment associated with Sagittarius. Page of Cups associated with Pisces. Okay, there could be some clues here too. Right. There also may be something about the judgment call you make here will actually set 3 free, right? Even as it brings blessing to you, it does set 3 free. But you do need to take up this cup It's an inspiration, and there's something that only you can fulfill here, because we did have that artist come in earlier, and you're meant to go to a very deep place with this. The well of Danu is very interesting because Danu is also represented as an earth goddess energy. And she very much holds that empress kind of charge. So there is this piece about really entering the waterway. When you step into this birthing portal, it's going to go real deep, deeper than you've gone before. But I feel like it's a much different experience that you had when you went deep into the underworld territory with Pluto. This is more getting to the upliftment and the restoration. Judgment coming out here. It did come out in a crossing position. So I want to get a little bit of detail on this. I mean, we do have the Three of Wands here. So to me, it feels like there might be two that you need to make a judgment call about. And that might be hard for you. It might be hard for you to have to make this judgment. What will the judgment be for Libra in relation to this? If Libra does what is called for here, it looks like you have to make a judgment call, okay? I mean, you are the scales, that's what you're supposed to do here, okay? So what happens for Libra here? What is the judgment for Libra in relation to this Danu? All right, let's check it out. The Empress. Are you kidding me? The Empress. You're good, Libra. This looks good. You're good, okay? I think you'll make the right judgment call. I think you'll make the right judgment call. There's just something here that I do feel it's a little bit of grasping that last thorn, you know, before you get the unfoldment of the bloom. But you're going to bloom here. I mean, Empress twice came out for you. My, how your garden will grow on the other side of this. Yes, the Hierophant. Look at that. So you're absolutely getting a key here that opens your road. This is a firm yes. So this looks positive, all right? There's just this little last bit of dealing with some impish energies, it looks like, and having to see an unsavory truth and make a judgment call to choose yourself and the path with heart. I think you'll be able to handle it, okay? Master Maker energy. What is the power for Libra to gain through self-mastery? Master Maker has been on the scene. Master Maker is a fairy. Challenges you to pull out the best within yourself, forges you in the fire, requires dedication, requires discipline, requires focus, and an attention to purifying oneself, one's intentions, to always purify oneself. The path is endless purification. The path is also endless initiation. And it looks like you got a pretty deeply transformative year ahead of you. But it also looks very positive. Looks like you're getting to the other side of some heavy stuff here. A little last bit to clear out the waterway. Let's see what comes through here. What is the power for Libra to gain through self-mastery in the year ahead? What is the power for Libra to gain through self-mastery in the year ahead? Bottom of the deck energy. Ooh, I like it. Taking action to pull that sword from the stone. Wow. King of Swords. Look at that raven hanging out on the shoulder there. I love that. Okay, you're definitely taking charge here. I also think of the sword, and it makes me think of forging the sword, you know? So there's something here about really working with your element too. This is about really exercising your acumen. This is about having decisiveness. This is about having focus. It's also potentially about doing some writing as well, because I think of swords and I think of the pen is mightier than the sword. There also might be a lot coming through your communication at this time. And you're definitely working with the air in terms of your magic. And Raven is Libra on the medicine wheel. So I like this. Okay, you're meant to work with your element here. Some kind of writing or communication, spoken word may be what you're charged to refine here. It may have something to do with your purpose here. Okay. Give us some more details here. What is the power to be gained through self-mastery? But also it's very evocative of pulling that sword from the stone of destiny. And remember, you can only pull the sword from the stone if you have held a position of sovereignty within yourself. It's like Excalibur energy too. So let's get a look at this here. What is the power to be gained by Libra through self-mastery? Seven of Cups. Ooh. Ooh, I like it. Look at this. To cheat death. To cheat death. Look at that. It almost looks like Skeksis energy to me. It's also interesting here. Look at holding death there. The skull representing death. Also, there's something about illusionist here too, being able to unmask the source of this sort of like Skeksis kind of energy. A cloak of imperceptibility to bring an end to a greedy energy. You're unmasking this force that's been creating some kind of illusion, some kind of confusion. You're bringing an end to it. The star, bottom of the deck. This is what leads you to your stargate. Wow. And that is Ishtar's star. So this is when you rise. Interesting. This is what comes in with that Aquarius full moon. So the lead up to that, I think you're bringing an end to some glamour perhaps that was cast by a Skeksis sort of energy, somebody who had been wearing a mask with you. You're demasking this individual and you're bringing it to an end. And it also makes me think of that other aspect of that quote to don't be concerned with your contradictions. Persephone was floral maiden and queen of death. And that is a bit of the Libra nature as well. Libra knows how to be in the shadow and be in the light. And it does also give me the impression too of a little bit of role play and a little bit of theater and sort of working with maybe some of these heavier aspects in that way. Maybe this is a way that you can master some of the more shadowy aspects or master what has created a sort of glamour or illusion, is to work with that material in that way. And for the swords energy, the King of Swords energy to come out as well, it almost gives me the impression of doing something creative with it, writing about it, writing lyrics about it, creating music around it, writing a screenplay, creating a storyline. Like there's something beautiful that can come through what has been ugly. There is a gift that comes through that sort of shadowy territory. Very interesting. And they're also looking down here too. It makes me think of an aspect of yourself too. Maybe an aspect of yourself that you used to keep in the shadow. You're bringing it up to the surface through working with it in a really creative way. And you're sort of breaking the spell of the power this shadowy aspect of yourself has had over you as well. And that could be an aspect of yourself that you've kept hidden, maybe because it was shamed or perhaps because you didn't have the courage to really reveal it, step into this. And there's something about working with this creatively, or maybe theatrically, or maybe through role playing or through storytelling. You know, there's something about this working with the energy creatively will help you demask this influence. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, whatever this is, it leads to your Stargate. It leads to the Stargate that heads you straight on up to that North Star, to that North Node. Your read is really interesting, Libra. Okay, let me shuffle this a bit. What's at stake for your party on this road to the Stone of Destiny? This quote, this quote. See, there's something coming through about the written word, or what you're expressing, your communication, how you emote things. This is a key here. There's something about embracing a little bit of fantasy around that, okay? Interesting. On this quest, to, maybe people will be quoting you down the road. Remember, she said she was going to be doing this, that this is what was going to come to pass. Perhaps a bit of prophecy, a little oracular inspiration is coming through right now. All right, what's at stake for your party? Those star mates that will be joining you on this road to the Stone of Destiny as this quest opens here. As your solar return quest opens here, Libra. What's at stake for you and your party that you need to be mindful of? Well, we got the Hangman here, okay? So again, it's like waiting for the proper moment of illumination. It's also recognizing that where you do feel maybe influenced by others' actions, or you may feel bitter or still have some kind of subconscious energy that needs to be expelled and released. There's something here about really needing to understand that nobody can hang you up here. This is about really dropping any kind of martyrdom stories that might be perhaps real deep within. You could have something that's almost generationally rooted there that needs to be released. It might require you to look something dead in the eyes that maybe is something that seems a bit of evil or seems very sinister, and recognize that it has no power over you anymore. And I don't know why I got this coming through, but it reminds me of when I was a little girl, really, really young. I always was very aware of other energies, and I always felt very connected to what some people call the supernatural or paranormal. I don't view it as that. It's all natural and it's all there all the time. And I've always been able to see it as far back as I can remember. And sometimes that was very frightening for me as a little girl. And I had a lot of issues with night terrors and nightmares when I was very young. And then I remember when I was 18 years old, I had this very visceral lucid dream, because I learned how to lucid dream in order to feel a sense of mastery when I was operating in those realms, because I got tired of this really heavy, terrifying stuff coming after me in the dream world. So I knew how to say stop and make my dream freeze, and I could move things around to my advantage. And then once I had like a lay of the land and I knew what I was dealing with, then I could get the dream to start again, and I would be able to overcome in the situation. Well, when I was 18, I had this dream where the devil incarnate was chasing after me. And I was in this labyrinth It was like a big house, and it had many different levels, and it was all white, and there was nothing in it. It was just one big labyrinth, and I could feel it hot on my tail. I could feel it right behind me, trying to grasp me. And I was getting so tired of running from it that I just finally gave myself over to it, and I turned around, I stopped, and I faced it. And it started to manifest in front of me in the most grotesque, horrifying forms. And I looked at the devil. I looked at the devil in the eyes, and I said, "You have no power over me. You have absolutely no power over me. And I'm not afraid of you. And there's nothing you can do to me. There's absolutely nothing you can do to me, because you don't even exist unless I believe in you. And I was told to believe in you, but I don't believe in you anymore. You're a figment of my imagination that's been haunting me for too long." And the more that I spoke back to this devil, the more it morphed in front of me, the more it upped the ante, the more it tried to be more terrifying. It even got to the point where it was tearing away at me physically. And I was there, I get it. And I was there just like nothing. I was just there, just bones speaking to this entity saying, "I'm not afraid of you. You don't exist. You have no power over me anymore." And finally, it stopped, and it turned into like a statue. And I went, I worked with the air, the sword, I worked with the air, and I went, and I blew, and as I blew, it started to erode. The statue started to erode, and it turned to sand and like dust in the wind. It completely disappeared, and I never had a nightmare again. I was free of it, and I've been free of it ever since. And that's what this reminds me of. You have to free yourself. There's some way that you've bound yourself to this concept of being caught up here or being held in place by some outside entity or some outside authority or some outdated belief or ideal. And you need to really trace the threads of that and how you got caught up there, so you can recognize that once you have that illumination, you're free. You're free. Coming in with Piscean energy, okay? You've had some Pisces references come out here 3 times now. So there could be a clue there. But this is something that's a bit of a blind spot. And I feel like it's really important for you to resolve this. You coming together with your star mates, the people you're meant to connect with and share this road, depends on this, okay? So don't martyr yourself. Don't allow yourself to be put in this position. There's something subconscious here that needs to be made conscious. And once you get it, it's real easy to unravel what's had you caught up here for a while, I feel. Okay? It could also have something to do, like what came in earlier, that this has an effect that it also frees up another. Okay? Interesting. Okay, what's at stake for the new world that you want to weave into being? What's at stake for Libra for the new world they want to weave into being? What's at stake for the new world you want to weave into being? And as I bring that in, I feel like there's outside forces that are oppositional to that, because I feel like there's this like energy that wants to try to create pressure in the crown space right now. As I spoke that, I'm very sensitive to when energies come in that are trying to like block some kind of illumination. So I think I'm really on to something in relation to that. Okay, maybe there is something or someone that feels like they still have the ability to have some kind of authority or power over you, and it's not true, it's illusory. Okay, and with that, yes, I love this. The star comes out again. No, your star is here. And it's Ishtar's star. You are meant to rise up out of this. You cannot be held back. Okay? This is what is at stake. It is so important that you see this and you really own it. And that you really step into all that you are being called, being charged to step into at this time. Because the star, the hope for all of those who are going to join you on the road ahead and for the new world you want to weave into being depends on it. This really comes to a culmination point with that ring of fire in Aquarius on February 17th, 2026. Whoa, and on the bottom of the deck, look. Yes, that is when you pull the sword from the stone. So I feel like your destiny, like it's really coming into view at that time. Wow, this is potent. Okay. I mean, there's already so many cookies here. This is a really great read, Libra. I mean, what a quest, what an adventure. I mean, there's some tricky aspects and there are a little bit of thorns to grasp along the way, but all in all, this looks just so beautiful the way this is mapped out. Let's go ahead and check it out though. What's the cookie? What's the sweet reward for Libra if Libra fulfills this charge? What is the sweet reward for Libra if they fulfill this charge? What is the sweet reward for Libra if they fulfill this charge that is being set before them? It's the charge of Danu. I would answer it. If Danu is charging you with this, you should answer the call. Right? It's going to take you to some really deep places. It's like you're being born. Your waterway is Danu's well, like the deepest well of Danu. It's pretty powerful stuff coming through here, Libra. What is the cookie, the sweet reward for Libra if they answer this call? Bottom of the deck, Page of Pentacles. Okay, so there's news that comes in, right, about that Ace of Pentacles. And I think a Page of Pentacles, and it also is being willing to learn something here. So that's what comes on the scene when we're looking at the master maker. You need to hone your skills. There's something you need to learn. You kind of get set through the paces. It's opening up to a new path of cultivation and study. The cookie comes through this, okay? That's the basis of the matter. So there might be a new form of study you're taking up here, or a craft you're honing, a skill you're developing, an opportunity you're being asked to step into where you might be a little bit of a beginner, but it brings you some kind of sweet reward. Okay, what is this? What is the cookie? What is the sweet reward that is coming in for Libra here if they answer this charge? What is the cookie? What is the sweet reward that comes in for Libra if they answer this charge? They answer the call. They step on this path the master maker is set before them. What is the sweet reward that comes through for Libra? Ooh. Ooh. Oh my goodness. The miraculous chalice, the Ace of Cups. Wow. Okay, so we've had the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles. The only thing missing is the Ace of Swords, which is funny because that King of Swords, right? Holding that sword, getting ready to pull it out of the stone. I mean, maybe that's the sword you need to get. You need to pull it from the stone of destiny. Got the Nine of Pentacles here. I said it to open it up. My, how your garden grows. This is a lot of growth. This is pre-Empress energy. This is something coming to fruition. This is beautiful. This is prosperity. If you step onto this path and you answer the charge, there is so much growth that will come out of it. There's material growth, certainly, but there's also some kind of creative growth, growth of your craft, growth of knowledge, growth of wisdom, growth of your skills. growth of the storyline too that wants to unfold before you. Wow, look at this. We got the Hermit coming in here with the Hangman. So this is freeing yourself from the South Node, from the old karmic cycle, and activating the path of wisdom. You are going to leave behind whatever it is you need to leave behind there. Remember that with the Ace of, I went to say the Ace of Cups. Well, you get an Ace of Cups out of it, but the Eight of Cups, right? So there's something you leave behind, and it gives you the light you need that leads you up to your North Node. Pisces up there in the North Node. That's wild how that came out. And what do we got here? The 10 of Pentacles. The 9 goes to the 10. So there's somebody you're joining forces with here. And the two of you build a legacy together. Ace of Cups. This is beautiful, Libra. This is beautiful. That is quite the reward. Okay, so we got Virgo energy coming in here. Aquarian energy came in. Piscean energy here. Wow. Okay. Let's see what the target should be. Where should we focus our attention to have a successful, fulfilling, rewarding, and celebratory campaign? Let's kind of frame it like that. What should our target be? What should our focus be for Libra in this next trip around the sun? What should the target be? What should our focus be on this campaign for our next trip around the sun? What should our target be? What should our focus be? That flip. Ooh. Oh, it flipped up right in the middle of the deck. Look at that. The Devil. The Devil. The Devil. Look how it's all gold with the Devil. I love how it almost looks like a looking glass, like it's so reflective here. The Devil, Capricorn energy. The Moon on the bottom of the deck. So this is an initiatory process. You know what I have to say? You notice here, there are no figures that are chained. There's just sort of like this figure resting here. That's wild that I brought in that dream and that came through. It really makes me think that all you see is all there is. In the traditional tarot, the Devil is shown holding up the goat hoof mudra, and that's what it means. All you see is all there is. So it's really sort of like this reflection point for you. This is what you should focus on, that all you see is all there is. So in other words, it's really about you polishing the mirror so that it reflects what you truly are ready to step into. And any time that you are seeing something that's manifesting as an apparition of oppression or fear or distortion or corruption, it's up to you to sort of wake up the sleeping parts of you where there's something there that needs to be brought up into conscious awareness so it can be alchemized and transmuted. And that is how you step into worldly power and you transform your physical reality. And notice here we started out, right, with that moon. Can't remember where it went, but remember the crescent moon? Here it is with the Fool. See, the beginning of the journey was downturned, right? But But by the time that we get to the end of it, look, with the moon, it's upturned. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. So the moon is an initiatory process. And there's something that you need to really understand at this point in your journey, that you really do have the ability to polish this mirror. You have the ability to alchemize these energies and step into your true power. So you can have dominion over the world that you are creating, but it's as within, so without. And all you see is all there is. So anytime you're seeing something that doesn't match the higher vision, remember to polish that mirror and call out the fears and the unconscious parts of yourself. And you will arrive at this place of worldly attainment. And it's also the balance, right? The shadow, the light, to hold it in equal measure. And you can't do that if you're not willing to make the subconscious conscious. Because just as we had this sort of like fate's energy come in here, if you do not make the subconscious conscious, you will call it fate and it will rule your life, right? You have the power of transformation in this next trip around the sun, and to best a particular devil that's been catching you sleeping for too long. It's time to wake within the dream, to live the waking dream and create the world as you see fit. Cut of the deck to cap this off, Libra. Page of Wands. There's so many messages coming in here. Sagittarian energy, and on the opposite side, Knight of Pentacles. Very interesting. Tree off in the distance there, okay? So slow and steady as you exercise this power, as you answer this call. Slow and steady. Trust the timing of things. Trust that what you are investing in is coming to its place of full fruition. And know that this is something that is worth defending to the end, despite any opposition that you may face along the way. And with that, we have the King of Wands. I like this. The Page of Wands becomes the King of Wands. There's a maturation energy here. There's growth. It may start out small, this power that you have in your hands, but just like that hazel branch planted in the earth, it will grow into its maturation. It will become rooted and strong, and it will become a giving tree, a legacy that nurtures not only you, that doesn't just provide fruits of your labor for just you, but fruits that will feed the many. Godspeed, Libra, and blessings on your next trip around the sun.